Welcome to the Air Power Airwaves, the Air Power Manufacturing Solutions podcast series where we talk about manufacturing issues that impact you. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Air Power Airwaves. Today I have the big man himself, Dan Senff, sitting over here. How you doing, Dan?
I'm great, Travis.
Good.
Glad to be here.
It has been a long time.
It has been, yeah. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. It's been over a year, I think, right? It was last January,
like
maybe?
a year and a half,
yeah,
something like that. And I think we've tried to schedule this like 4 times this year, and every time both of our calendars get completely imploded.
Yeah.
So
it's been difficult to get connected for this, for sure.
Well, I made it over here to work with one of our account managers today, and I called Dan. This is a Tuesday. I called Dan, I think, Friday, and was like, hey, can you squeeze me in? Can you squeeze us in on Tuesday? Oh, I said Wednesday, and you're like, nope, that's not going to work.
Yeah, Wednesday.
About Tuesday afternoon, and I think we got like an hour window, hour and a half, 2-hour window. So I'm grateful for that, though.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to be here. Yeah,
So
Wednesday couldn't work.
Yep.
Today's good.
So we decided to just get it done, and so we're going to kind of give you some updates on Air Power, updates on where we're at as a company, what we're doing, things that have happened in the last year and a half, and hopefully we'll bring you another episode of Dan January, February this next year. Maybe we'll even do it at the sales meeting. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. So, all right, as you can tell, Dan's super easy to talk to. So Dan is the president of Air Power, has been since
December of 16, yeah.
December 16.
8 years, yeah.
Yep.
It's December.
So you and I have been with the company about the same amount of time.
Yeah,
about 9-10 years.
Yeah.
So if you want to know more about Dan's history and how he got here, you can look back at just go to the Air Power Airwaves Podcast library, or go to airpower-usa.com, or go to our YouTube page. Just look up Air Power Manufacturing Solutions. There's an interview with him a year and a half ago or earlier. That this is our third one, I think, that you.
Yeah, that first one was.
That first one we talked about your past, what led you to Air Power, how you got here, what your background was. So, if you want, it's all there for you in the good old library. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, we got Jai running the show here, our fearless director, editor, and all things technical. He's much appreciated. And again, I'm Travis Stierwald. I'm an application engineer with Air Power and the podcast host. So if you have any questions for Dan, I'll give you his cell phone number. No, just kidding. It's going up on the screen right now. I have a feeling there'll be one of those red things that goes.
That's doubt.
No, if you have any questions for any of us, even if you have a question for Dan, call the 800 number, 800-334-1001. Our official website, airpower-usa.com. And the official website for the podcast is airpowerairwaves.com, where you can access video versions or the audio versions. And you can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts. Dan, let's talk about Air Power's vision for the future. That's been talked about quite a bit.
Okay.
And I know we kind of rode some of that out of the sales meeting early this year. So, and that drive to 2025.
Yeah. We, if you go back really to 2023 and sort of along this theme of sort of who we are and who we're efforting to be. Right, 2023, we've got this theme of we in 23, and that really was around us and Air Power and who we are, what we're really good at, the things that we excel at, and really educating ourselves internally. Yep. Because our organization has changed a lot, in the last 5 years. We've got a lot of new people that are part of our organization. I think our capabilities have grown, and the way that we go to market has shifted quite a bit. So, 23 was a bit of, or at the end of 23 was a bit of an education to kind of look at how that's changed. And then in 24, we talked a lot about core in 24, and obviously we're in 24. And so So that was really around, what's core to our success.
And core products,
core products,
core offerings,
core solutions,
Yep.
our people as a core to our success, our partnerships, right? We talk about products, but really the products are part of those partnerships that we have with some of our largest partners. And certainly, we talk about the number of suppliers, and they're all important, but we have a number of core partners that without them, we would never be able to do what we do. And so as you look into 2025 and the drive to 2025, when you talk about the way that our business has changed and the way our business has shifted, a lot of that has to do with the way the market is shifting. We continue to talk to customers who continue to tell us the struggle that they have trying to find manpower. And it's not just in manufacturing, it's all across, the U.S. and it's a global issue as well. But certainly in the markets that we play in, we continue to see a need for automation. And I think maybe in the previous podcast, we talked a little bit about some of our partnerships. FANUC was one of those partnerships we talked about. But when we talk about automation, it's not just about robotics. Robotics is certainly part of that, but it's really taking, the human piece of work out of the process, right, and being able to automate that. And that can look like a lot of different things really across assemble, move, and coat, for us.
Okay, so when we're talking about, the assemble, move, and coat, all of those segments of business for us, automation is heavily involved.
Sure.
Precision dispensing being one of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's really, automating the finishing process. It's really automating the dispense process, automating the assembly process, right? And those, as we've talked about before, the way that we define those things, assemble, move, coat, right? When you're assembling something, whether you're putting it together with fasteners or whether you're putting it together with some sort of adhesive, a structural adhesive, when you're moving something from point A to point B, whether that's a liquid or a solid, right? And then when you're finishing, and the finishing process is everything from preparing the substrate to cleaning the substrate to finishing the substrate to curing the substrate.
Correct.
So when we talk automation, it's really around all of those areas, and it's a big focus for us. We continue to talk to our teams about it. We continue to try and help educate customers, not only to help them understand, an automated solution doesn't have to be a $500,000 solution, right? It can be a simple $20,000 solution or a $10,000 solution. It's really about, taking that human element out of it. And that's not to displace human beings. That's about being able to reallocate those people to different, applications and things that you need in your process.
Yep. And the other thing that I know we've said on this podcast a million times is repeatability is profitability. And once you have that down in automation, you can then zero in on how to save cost, whether it's labor cost. You've got that in the individual employees that were on that line doing something that leads to reworks.
Yeah,
because we're humans.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of ways that automation helps.
Yeah, just think about the finishing process. You think about the industrial painter, and you think about the art form that becomes, and the ability to train somebody else to do something that an operator has done for 10 or 15 or 20 years. It doesn't just happen overnight. Not everybody wants that role, right? And with finishing being, a large part certainly of the solutions that we provide, we want to make sure that we're an integral part of making sure that we help sort of train the next generation and or help customers, automate those processes where they need to sort of get another process involved.
Right. We just covered that on another podcast where the high volume of employees that are retiring that came out of the 50s, 60s, getting into the workforce and now retiring, that it's like that oh crap moment, because that person had just left the paint line, been doing perfect work for a long time,
right.
And they go, oh, we forgot to train somebody to take their spot. They have a body that they want to put in there, like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. And the guy's like, well, they never showed me how.
Right.
Right. Some of those same reasons for us in our sales force, in our teams that are out there, training is a huge part of their job, training employees.
Right.
So
100%.
All right, so I talked to Kyle. He wanted me to pitch a few at you.
Okay.
One of those is instilling an employee ownership mentality at Air Power. What does that mean?
At least since I've been here, the thing I think that we've been asking ourselves is a matter of three questions, right? And the first question is, is this, when I make this decision, is this the right thing for the customer? We're really good at answering yes to that, and we put the customer first, which is, is really what we're all about. The second question that we ask ourselves is it good for Air Power? Sometimes the answer is not necessarily yes, but the customer need outweighs necessarily, hey, is it great for Air Power? And the third piece is really around how does it impact another functional role within the company? And so, we're a privately held company. We're what I like to say is we're a big, small company. We continue to grow, not only in capabilities, but in revenue and in people. And so the work that we do is important because it is taking care of our customers so that then we can take care of the employees that are represented by Air Power. So when we talk about an employee ownership mentality, we don't have an ESOP here. But what I want to make sure that we're instilling in everybody here is that the decisions that I make have an impact on not only the customer but also on Air Power. And ultimately, there's I don't want to call it a trickle down effect, but every decision that I make, right, can have an impact on how do we take care of the customer? Are we able to take care of a customer in a way that represents a profitable way for us to do that? And when we're able to do that, that we take those profits and we reinvest them back in the company. And that's really in things like, our benefits, and in things like, our pay, and the things that we know our employees value. And so, 20 plus years ago, Air Power had a profit sharing program, and that's not been in place for a long time for a multitude of reasons, economy and different things like that. And so one of the things that I was excited about and we were excited about was, continuing to drive this mentality of, an employee ownership mentality so that we drive profitability so that we can reinvest that profitability, in our employees. And the way that has played out certainly in this last year is through a profit sharing program. And so we were super excited about announcing that to all of our employees that, we've reinstated this profit sharing program so that you can see, right, the direct impact of, hey, I've been here, X amount of years, and I've been here X years, and I make Y, and when we declare, a profit sharing or a dividend type of setup, right, this is what that means to me. And so the important thing for us is not only, first and foremost to make sure that we take care of the customer. Because without the customer, right, none of us have jobs. We're not sitting here without taking care of the customer. So the better job we do taking care of that customer, the better job I think that we can do taking care of our employees. And so that's the mentality that we're continuing to try to drive. We have, upwards of 30, account managers or outside salespeople. We have another 20 application engineers. And so that's what I think our customers see primarily is a face to the customer. But the thing that I like to try to remind our company is that everybody's part of the sales process. Just because you're not the account manager that's right out in front of the customer, I know that without our service department, we're not able to do what we can do for the customer. Without our shipping and receiving department, we're not able to do what we can do for the customer. Yep. And go down the line, whether that's accounting or whether it's engineering or whether it's our install team, without all those pieces as part of the solution, we're not the Air Power that we are. And so if each one of those functions and each person in the company looks at that as, okay, what part do I play in making sure that we take care of the customer, and then B, take care of Air Power, and then C, understand like, okay, well, how does this impact another functional role within the company? I think that drives that mentality of, okay, I have a part to play in this, and some control over my own destiny, so to speak.
Right. So, that you just touched on this. What are we doing as a company, and as our teams to better ourselves for our customers? Do we, the internal training, the outside training?
Yeah, I mean, I think
we have a lot of strong partnerships with our vendors that makes that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've been here a couple of minutes, you've heard me talk about training and the amount of, I would say, time and money and resources that we invest in training. And it's not just, again, it's not just account managers, right? It's application engineers, it's our engineering staff, it's our service team, not only bench service, but field service, right? It is critical for us that we're able to service what we sell. And so when you think about the way that we serve a market, each one of our branches has a service capability, has inventory local to the market, and also has field service capability, because we don't want to just be, your distributor of a product. We want to be a solutions provider, and that includes the over the life of that product or that solution. We're not only just selling it to you, but we're servicing it for the long term. And so when you think about the investments that we make, we really reinvest monies right into all parts of of our organization, and that does come from a ton of our vendors, right? We have vendor partners who also believe in training, and a better trained distributor partner is a better face to the customer. Absolutely. They understand that, and we believe wholeheartedly in that. So.
Absolutely. And you touched on it there, but the progression of Air Power going from distributor to an overall solutions provider and integrator there's been a massive amount of that shift in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, I think if you go back, I have this probably on a chart somewhere, but if you go back, I would say 6 to 7 years, the breakdown of our business, we talk about distributed product or box in, box out, right? You order a pump, we ship you a pump. We have a pump in stock, we ship it to you. We don't touch it other than you order a part number and we ship it to you. So that that part of our business 6 years ago was probably more of like an 85, maybe 85-15 mix as far as like solutions, and that number is much closer to 55 to 60%. Still a big portion of our business, what we call that run rate business.
Yep.
But the solutions part of our business is growing, leaps and bounds and double-digit trajectories, right? And that's and we're investing in our company in different ways to support that, right? When we talk about the resources that we want to continue to invest in, a lot of beefed up engineering capabilities. Yep. and solutions, mindset.
And the field team to be able to handle that as well.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. You talk about training. So I would put our field install project team, up against just about anybody. These guys and gals, whether it's installing the team or whether it's our project coordinators, this team works really well together. One, making sure that we understand what the customer's needs are, and a lot of that happens on the front end. And then, when that project gets, I'll just say, turned over, right, we've got a kickoff call. Yep. And so we've got a team of people that are part of that. Somebody really owns that project, takes care of things like purchasing and communicating with the customer and communicating with vendors, right? And then there's the lineup meeting really with the install team so that they can clearly understand what it is that we committed to, right?
Truly getting everyone on the same page.
That's right. And there's
identifying where things have been overlooked, misquoted. There's a lot of things that go on in those meetings.
Yeah, I think and I think we've gotten progressively better, okay, at doing that. And we've had more opportunities to do it, right? When you think about the way that part of our business has grown, but the way that I think we invest in those teams and the training for those teams and the technology, as technology continues to change, we continue to invest in those teams to make sure, again, that we're doing right by the by the customer. One of the biggest breakdowns, I think that we have when we do have a breakdown, right, with a customer is really about expectations. Right, and communication is making sure that we get that clear, and it's really not rocket science. I mean, even internally, I think some of the biggest struggles that you have is this is what I thought you said that you wanted, but this is what I heard. And I didn't necessarily give you that feedback loop.
Yep.
And so I'm running down a route, and you're thinking you're getting one thing, and I'm going to deliver you something else. And so we don't have that a lot of times, but when there is a breakdown between us and sort of the customer, it really is generally a misunderstanding about, hey, this is what I thought I was getting, and this is kind of what I thought you were getting. So
putting it all on paper so everybody understands it for the exact same thing.
It helps. It helps for sure.
Let's talk about trends of automation and digitization and how that's playing into our world. I know partnerships with companies like Fanuc. We've hit some major milestones with that, I believe.
Yeah. Again, I think if you go back, I'll use that kind of 5-year period. We've had a relationship with Fanuc for a long time, and it was primarily, on the finishing side of our business, so in the paint booth and around the paint process, and that's been good. But I think we talked about this maybe on the last podcast about being an authorized integrator. So I think the volume, of Fanuc robotics, right, that we've sold in the last couple of years has changed significantly. And it's not just in the finishing space, right? A lot of it is in the material handling space and or on the dispense side. They continue to innovate with things like, cobots and things like that, right? So that you're working in a workspace. And so that's what we've seen is, for us, even a little bit of a shift in the way that we think about a solution for a customer. The way that we might solve that problem 5 years ago looks different. Again, it's not always the robot is the answer, but sometimes the robot, is the answer. And so, we have provided a lot more solutions, I would say, in the last 2 years, from a material handling standpoint. Like, I've got to pick something up from point A, move it from point A to point B, and again, that's in our move wheelhouse. Yep. Whereas that robotic solution 5 years ago would have just really been in the finishing space. So we continue to see that. We continue to challenge our teams to ask those questions of customers. Are you struggling, right, with manpower? Right, because that's the number one. Are you having issues with with quality? And manufacturers always kind of struggle with quality. It's certainly key to the things that they do, but certainly from a manpower standpoint, some of those automation opportunities, again, robotic or not, continue to drive our investment in who we partner with and sort of how we go to market.
Yep. All right. Another thing that's been talked about quite frequently is preventative maintenance. I know certain times of the year, we get to shutdowns like in July. So we've just been through that with a lot of our customers. And then we'll have, whether usually that week between Christmas and New Year's. Yep. Is often a shutdown week. And I've been to many a shutdown, I can assure you, with filters. But, our preventative maintenance programs that we offer have grown exponentially here. You want to talk some about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the way technology continues to move, and the technology that we sell, you think about the Internet of Things and all the connectivity that is out there. All the equipment that we sell and service continues to become smarter and smarter and smarter. And so manufacturers, want to have that information. They want to have it on servers, right? There are things that we can do to remote in, right, to equipment and things like that. And so, rather than wait for what we refer to as a break fix, right? You have a system down, I call for help, right? We have been working, diligently, not only with the technology and some of the, I'll just say, the predictive analytics and things like that to get ahead of those breakdowns. And so when you think about preventive maintenance contracts, about how we come in and service things, on a quarterly basis, we try to work hand in hand with the customer to make sure that matches really, times when they have a break. And that's a lot easier to schedule and plan for.
Schedule that break
rather than wait for your equipment to tell you when it's time to do.
And I think we have teams that have gone in overnight or even on the weekend, just because said factory does not have the ability to shut down any other time.
Yep. Yeah, we do. We have, and we continue to try to partner with our customers to make sure that they understand the value of that. It doesn't take too many of those breakdowns to understand the value of that. But on the front side, understanding sort of what the preventive maintenance schedule needs to look like, it looks a lot better and works a lot better for everybody if you put that on a quarterly preventive maintenance.
It's manageable,
contract, right? Yeah, breathing air is a great example, right? Of PM. We do a ton of PM on breathing air. There's plenty of other places in our business. DC tools, right, 2K equipment, things like that. That we know from history, but also just from some of these predictive analytics and sort of the data that's there, of what that needs to look like to avoid that big catastrophic shutdown that people a lot of times live by.
Yep. Well, I want to move on to talk about something that's kind of exciting that happened recently, and that was the addition of the new Pennsylvania branch.
Yeah.
In New Freedom, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be having sort of a grand opening, I think, here soon. But, I think I've talked about the Zenmar business, right? We acquired the Zenmar business in July of 2020. It was in Cockeysville, Maryland, or it was a suburb of Baltimore. Always a great facility, and not the best location from a traffic standpoint, right? And so we
I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So if you've been there,
and even parking for us, was challenging.
Yeah, it was difficult. Certainly, with the number of vehicles that we had to park there. So we were kind of on a corner spot. So we had been looking for a while, well over a year, for a different location. And it's a couple reasons. One, the space that was there, parking certainly was one of those. One, a better place from a traffic standpoint. But then the other thing is just really the opportunity to scale, our business and make sure that we can, I would say, more easily incorporate all three parts of our business. As you remember, when we bought the Zenmar business, it was really, one of the three parts of our assemble move code. They're really tools and material handling. And so that has certainly shifted in the last several years. And that part of our business in the north, what we call the north, is a significant part of our business across the assemble, move, and coat spaces. And so, the ability to find that location really across the state line in Pennsylvania, with quite a bit more space, and really be able to take a shell, right, and lay it out the way that we want it to be laid out to really match, somewhat of the layout of other branches that we have, from a process flow standpoint, has been super exciting for us. So, we've got multiple resources that are located up at that branch, and we're excited about doing some training there. Actually, just in the next week or so, I think we've got some powder training going on up there, which we're super excited about. And it's really going to give us an opportunity to continue to expand our footprint up there. So, we're super excited about.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yep.
I think I'll be up there in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Definitely have some things to do with those fellows up there. All right. Anything else you want to talk about today, other than the lawnmower outside?
Yeah, I hear the lawnmower. That's okay. No, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to get back in here and kind of catch up a little bit. I'd love to do it again, maybe kind of at the end of the year.
Yep.
I think we've got some continued excitement around, this drive to 25 and where we're headed and what it looks like for our business, and the importance for us of our ability to continue to grow and innovate and serve our customer base. I can't say enough about, the amount of time and effort and money and resources that we're really pouring into, the solutions side of our business. It's a big differentiator for us. In addition to the things that we talked about, when you think about preventive maintenance, our field service team, our install team, our bench service team, I would put those teams up against anybody. I think we do it really well. We're not perfect, but I think we do it really well. And I think we have a desire to continue to be, I'll say market leading in those spaces. So, we're excited about the growth opportunity that's going to afford us.
Excellent. Dan, thank you so much, sir.
You bet. Thank you, Travis.
Glad to have you in here today. It's been fantastic. All right. You know the drill, 1-800-334-1001, airpower-usa.com or airpowerairwaves.com. Don't forget the YouTube page. YouTube has tons of videos, podcasts, everything else, training videos. So I'm going to close out this episode of the podcast like I always do by saying, manufacture it a great day.
Thank you for joining the Air Power Airwaves Podcast. Air Power Airwaves is a production of Air Power Inc. and Air Power Live Studios and is hosted by Travis Steyerwalt. For more information, please visit airpowerairwaves.com. For more information on all of our products, brands, and manufacturing solutions, please visit airpower-usa.com. If you have any questions or need product support, please contact Air Power at 1-800-334-1001.